Voila! Yay! All right. It's the JillStream.
Hello.
Hello, Jill. You're
Hello,
the Jill of the
Antonio.
JillStream. Hello. And this is
And
episode 9, although it's actually
wow.
episode 11, I think, because of the Wire episodes and other stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
those
yeah.
are their own
Yeah,
separate
yeah,
thing.
they don't. Although when I upload this to iTunes and the like and all that, they'll all be included. They'll be all on the same JillStream playlist. But hello, welcome to everyone that is watching on various platforms. I am your co-pilot, Antonio Bryce. I am a comic book writer. Matter of fact, I don't have my little thingy here because I was packing comics. But yeah, this is it, Brand. Yeah,
Yeah,
boom.
pull it up.
And it is, I'm packing comics all week, and
It's what you do.
Yeah, it's what's for dinner, as they
Yep.
say. But we also want to say hello, of course, to our good friends over at Planet EJOBN.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you guys for hanging with us. And of course, if you are watching on another platform, because we are streaming to 5 different places at
Oh wow.
once. Yeah, they've
We're out there.
Periscope and Twitch, and we're on a couple of different Facebook pages, of course, like I said, Planet EJOBN. But wherever you're watching us on, you can also come hang out with us at youtube.com/Akari Press. Please join, like, and subscribe, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But Jill, we're
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Even though I just saw you on Wednesday,
That's true.
but we pretend like that doesn't happen until next Wednesday, which we'll be back again.
Yes, we will not talk about The Wire today.
I had fun during that stream.
Oh, of course.
Good to see. It is so good to see you, and hopefully, these what has it been 2 days? Yeah, I guess it's been 2 days since I last saw you. How are you, dear?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, have you been playing
living life?
Gaming with the niece and nephews or whatever?
I've got 2 nephews. Yeah, I've been doing a little switch with them, it's fun. It's cute. Yeah, they like to play well, the older one likes Splatoon 2, which just is running around shooting paint and stuff.
I've seen that game, yeah.
And Super Smash Brothers, which I'm terrible at fighting games. So the oldest one likes to go, all right, so this round we're just gonna have fun. We're not gonna fight, we're just gonna have fun. So that basically means stand there while he beats you up, sort of thing. And so like I'll start like hitting on him. He's like, Auntie, what are you doing? I'm supposed to have fun. I'm like, I am having fun.
Like mash buttons, or do you actually know like move combinations and stuff like that?
No, I'm not. I don't do move combinations. I'm not that intense with fighting games. I've dipped my toe into Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't gotten deep
I love the way
that
game looks. That game looks
really
incredible.
pretty. It is. It's really cool.
That game looks fantastic. So I'm curious about that. I guess you have a
PS4.
But I'm saying you have it's exclusive. I know that. So it's like
right.
But I know that you sometimes have access to the game codes or whatever, where you
sometimes I pick up a game code here or there. Yeah. It's true.
Well, I've been wanting to ask, because like if you get to the point where you decide you don't want those or something.
Well, the problem is, there's really no problem. Like my brother-in-law is a pretty big gamer, so a lot of times if there's a game I don't like, if I get something or if I know he wants it, like I'll ask somebody for it or something. So he's usually top on my list.
I was about to say we could probably, because I don't have a PS4, but I was like, we could give it away to one of the listeners or something. I don't know.
That's true.
We could do like a contest or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I'll see what I can procure. You never want to screw up your hookups.
Yeah.
You don't want to get too greedy.
I was like,
or,
I was like, because I know you had like The Last of Us 2, although I hear I keep hearing weird things. They've got the little all the video scenes or whatever, the cut scenes
Yeah.
on YouTube,
The
and I was
leak
watching,
came
and
out.
it was very disturbing. Mr. Boogie, hello Boogie.
Oh, hi, Mr. Boogie Bentley.
Yeah, Boogie.
Hello.
But no, it's the I always wonder about that because the game watching the last because I watched the little cinematic of Last of Us 1 and I enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, okay. And then you watch Last of Us 2 and it seemed like, although the visuals were beautiful, I will say that. I would say the graphics themselves were beautiful, which made the stuff with that jacked up woman very strange.
Please, you watch wrestling, you've seen muscular women before.
Yeah.
Do you remember oh my gosh, I always forget her, Celeste Bonin? That's her real name. I can't remember her wrestler name. She was part of one of the later Diva Search contestant winner people. I think JR really likes her. Like on her, if you follow her on Instagram or anything she does, it's always these like bodybuilding type, like almost nude shots. She's has a very muscular but feminine body. I don't know. It's hard. Check it out. Celeste Bonin.
There was okay, so I'll definitely have to check her out. There was one woman I saw. I was watching some of my little wrestling videos, and they were wanting to bring her in. She was super tall. This chick, she was like blonde, but I mean, she was super. She looked like she could be playing like center for a women's basketball team or something.
Yeah. Caitlin. It was Caitlin as Celeste Bonin. That was who it was. Anyway.
Caitlin.
Okay. Super generic name. Oh, thanks, Boogie. Yep, Caitlin.
But yeah, but I saw they had her on like one early WWE television. She made like one appearance and then she was gone.
When was it? Like around what year? Was this like a while ago?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
And then there was I can't remember the one chick that she's no longer with us, but she was on she used to be part of the Whack Pack on the Howard Stern show, and then they brought her in as Sable's bodyguard.
Huh. And, okay, I like vaguely
I think
have images of that in my head.
She ended up suing the WWE because this was around because I know Sable sued as well because I remember they somebody played a joke on her and I know someone took a dump in her bag or something. They did something crazy with her. And there was a lot of
stories like that.
Weird, the weird jokes that they play on the fellow wrestlers in the WWE.
Right, weird jokes.
Yeah. But I mean,
whatever.
We've talked about I know on past streams I've talked about they did some of the stuff that they did to The Rock because Mark Henry had talked about that. They had got his bag with his I guess he was doing his counting his meals, and someone from DX or whatever they took his meal.
DX, what a lovely group.
Yeah, and they mixed some fecal matter in there into his meal and put it back in his bag, and they were going to let him eat it. And Mark Henry saw and decided to, it's like, yo, I can't let the boy go out like that.
Well, that's disgusting. No, nobody should go out like that. I mean, come on. Only a really horrible person.
Yeah, Mark told that story because he was like, they got mad at him because they was like, come on, man, don't say nothing. The rib's not on you, it's on him. And he was like, yeah, that's my dude, though. I'm not gonna let him go out like that. Because I'm just saying, if I'm friends with someone.
Right, that's what friends are for.
Yeah, and you
watch your back.
I'm about to eat something that's been tampered with. I'm gonna be looking. Obviously, I'm gonna be wanting to fight them.
Right.
But I'm gonna be looking at you real funny style for just letting me go through with that.
Well, yeah, you probably wouldn't be my friend anymore because that wouldn't be a friend.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and obviously,
not cool.
That Mark Henry telling them. that was one of the things he said on his Vlad TV interview, that him and The Rock are still cool. Like The Rock will call and text and say, "Hey man, tell your son happy birthday," or whatever. He'll know. He knows when he was like, man, he said Dwayne is still real cool with my kids, and and all that kind of thing. So it's just
yeah, you keep those sort of friends close. Remember them.
Yeah, so yeah, it was weird.
Speaking of The Rock,
Boogie's leaving. Oh no,
bye, Boogie.
I was like, well, hello, Boogie. Well, yeah. I was like, yeah.
Fine, leave us. Go away. Just go.
Yeah.
Leave.
But yeah, the Rock. Yeah, speaking of The Rock, yeah, I saw that he bought the XFL.
What do you? My first thought was Vince McMahon's getting a really cool Christmas present this year from The Rock. That was the first thing I thought. But really, what do you think he really like? To me, it seemed like a pretty sweet deal. I mean, I don't know how much the XFL would really be worth.
Well,
right now,
back if you remember, before he launched, took like 2 years when they said, okay, Vince is getting ready within 2 years to relaunch the XFL, and he had cashed out some of his WWE stock, $100 million worth.
Yeah,
he took $100 million. Said so. Okay. They said The Rock and his ex-wife and this investment firm, Red Letter Media, or whatever they called it.
Not Red Letter Media, not Mr. Plinkett.
No, it's something
like that. So, some group that's putting in money as well. But how it's 15 million?
15 million. So Vince spent $100 million because he lost a bunch of money. 20 years ago when they had the XFL?
Yeah.
And then
did Yul ever tell you he had season tickets for that first season? Him and two of his friends, friends.
He did not.
My brother-in-law for the San Francisco Demons, obviously.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they both still have their jerseys. They both got jersey, gear.
They
had fun
because they had like their low. I thought that was one thing I thought was a little weird when they relaunched, because they came back with 8 teams. When they relaunched, and all the teams were owned by Vince. He didn't want to have team owners. And this is one, I'm telling you, this is what I would do if I'm The Rock. I'm like, okay, let's sell all these.
Interesting. I see where you're going.
I would take, because he could make his money back. I'd be like, okay, because they already got like TV deal in place. They apparently have a fantasy football agreement where they can be on some of these, like what's that? DraftKings and whatever. Well, maybe not DraftKings. I know they actually have. DraftKings is partially owned by the NFL. That's why the NFL pushes them. They bought in, as an angel.
How is that even?
Well, they have shut fantasy sports down, and I see TJ Swan, and thank you.
TJ.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Let's get it. Book. Okay, yeah.
Love you, TJ.
But no. So.
So you're saying like he could sell off each team for like whatever each.
Yeah, because I mean he only spent like I said, they took $100 million.
Yeah,
lost 85.
What I wonder what the lawsuit will have to do, like, because isn't there a lawsuit attached to all this?
There was.
Or did that get settled already?
That's what I'm curious about. Okay, Oliver Luck was owed $20 million from Vince McMahon. Okay. But I don't think that, because I think he sued. Obviously the XFL filed bankruptcy, so I don't know. It's under new ownership. I don't think that lawsuit still transfers over.
So I wonder if that 15 mil is just going to go to pay off lawsuit, dude.
I'm whatever about that. I'm actually, or maybe The Rock would be like, "Hey, Oliver, we would love to have you come back and still," because Vince brought him in to
get this shit done.
I mean, he had been in the NFL, and then he went and transitioned into business, and his son is Andrew Luck, former quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, and he just was like 29 years old and had
Do
got
you
like
think
5 or 6 concussions.
do you think with somebody like The Rock owning it that it actually stands a chance because Vince McMahon doesn't have his wild old man ideas in the mix? Do you think it could actually be a thing, or do you think he has some other random idea for this?
I
Like,
think The Rock is young enough, hell, he's 47. So I'm sitting there going, okay, he's young enough and he's got the thing. Because I'm like, Vince is a billionaire. And I'm sitting there going, dude, you folded. Although they were, when they were getting ready to relaunch, they were like, oh, we've got money set aside. We're not expecting it to do good ratings.
yeah.
The first few years, our television partners are going to stick with us, because that was one thing. Like NBC kind of lost patience very quickly the first time. And so Fox seemed like they were into it and all that stuff. And it seemed like ABC, they were willing to stick. They were okay with the numbers they were getting. I know Fox's numbers were okay, so I was kind of curious about that. So it looked like people were kind of, especially since they weren't directly competing against the NFL. It's in the off season,
right? And they tried to like change certain rules and whatnot, and
and people were okay with it. So I think I was surprised Vince folded so fast. I mean, obviously the COVID didn't help. He would have.
It didn't. Yeah, they were he was probably expecting to make some in stadium money, right? Like some merch money, whatever.
Yeah.
So The Rock basically bought what trademarks?
Yeah,
like
the infrastructure. Name. Him and his partners will have to set back up, but he only spent, like I said, $15 million. They own all 8 teams.
Seems super cheap. That's probably like barely like. Well, I think we talked about this. Like, how much did he make for like one Disney movie that he did? Like, probably more than that.
Not to mention, I mean, The Rock. I've seen that they're shooting Jumanji 3.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're gonna. Dang. Well, they're going to.
Whenever that can happen, sure.
Yeah, because the first 2 have made like stupid money. Even though I didn't think the second one was as good. The second one's okay. It wasn't.
I haven't seen either of them.
No, I went to the first one. I went to the movie theater to watch.
Is it fun? Is the first one like fun? Is it good? Is it watching
the first Jumanji, which is it wasn't a relaunch. It was actually a sequel, which I did not know at first.
To the Robin Williams Jumanji?
Yeah, it's
really.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either. That's funny.
Well, The Rock he didn't want to say, because a lot of people just thought, they was like, oh, they're remake, because a lot of eyes rolled when they said The Rock was making Jumanji, and then they were like, oh my god, he's remaking, and that was a classic, and we're saying it because they just announced that Tony Danza is coming back for Who's the Boss.
I'm fine with that. I want to know Who's the Boss though.
Him and Alyssa Milano both agree.
You know what though? Older Alyssa Milano really bothers me. She annoys me.
Yeah.
I have just political stuff aside, her social media aside, her like hosting things. She hosts Project Runway All Stars. I can't stand her. Ugh. She's so phony and fake, and it's all about her. I can't stand. Yeah. Alyssa Milano. So she's going to be in it, huh? Great.
Yeah.
Well, what about Angela?
Yeah. See, that's
what about the other 2?
They haven't cut a deal with her yet.
What?
It was.
We need Judith Light.
That's so. And not to mention Tony.
Because who's the boss? I mean, who is the boss?
But his character had married her. They were a couple by the end of the run.
Right.
I think they got engaged. I don't think they actually did.
I can't remember whether they.
They definitely were a couple. They were together.
What about Jonathan, or what's his name? David Pinto or something? What the hell?
Yeah, I remember he's like trans
in it
or something. Yeah, I think he's.
But Katherine Hellman's.
Yeah, she's bad. Yeah, because I remember her for
bad. I mean, Mona is, Mona was pretty cool.
She was like 80 something years old. I mean, she's not gonna. I mean,
of course, people don't live forever.
Who wants to live forever?
What is that?
Queen? Come on!
Oh, wait, which Queen song?
That was from Highlander. That was they
Oh.
did the whole song. I am immortal. I
Okay.
have inside me blood.
I love Queen. I love the drama.
Yeah. And they did that whole soundtrack for the second Highlander was shit. But boy, they did that first.
I'm not really a Highlander gal, I gotta say.
Yeah. So that was like when you said that no one's gonna live forever. I was like, that's the Queen. Who wants to live forever? You know, it's like it made me have a flashback there. But that was, like I said, Who's the Boss remake. They haven't. I would suspect they will at least approach her and say, "Hey, do you want to come back and play Angela again?"
Mm-hmm.
Although
she's doing anything right now.
She's not doing much. She was
Did
on.
She do like Lifetime movies or something like that?
There was I'm trying to remember. She was playing someone's mom on one of these shows I had watched or something.
Like a network show or something.
Yeah, it was like she just had a couple of she was playing this like mean bitch of a mom. I have to look up her IMDb. But she's not doing a whole bunch of acting. So I saw that, but they have not announced her as attached to the show yet. They also mentioned, what was it? There's another one that's coming back. There's something else they're gonna completely relaunch. And I tweeted out, Jennifer Grey, she's going to do Dirty Dancing. She's gonna relaunch Dirty Dancing, which
again? They've already remade Dirty Dancing.
They did Havana
Nights. This is so weird. I don't know why, but you and I were just talking about this the other night and how much I love Jerry Orbach. So that's funny.
Yeah, he's obviously guest, be our guest, put our service to the test.
He's also in the original Fantastics, if anyone knows that.
Wasn't he in Footloose too? No, he wasn't in Footloose.
No, that was John Lithgow was the dad in Footloose.
Well, I'm trying to remember, but yeah, Jerry Orbach was in. He was in Dirty
LA Law, but he's in everything. No, but seriously, they're remaking it again, or they're doing like a sequel
this morning.
Or is it like Dirty Dancing later on? Like,
I'm assuming it is a actual real sequel, whereas the Havana Nights was a completely separate. Which I couldn't get through it.
I didn't waste my time with that. So I assume she's going to be like mourning the death of Johnny in it.
Yeah, because
since Patrick Swayze isn't around.
Yeah, because nobody.
Like, what are we going to do with no Patrick Swayze in this later in life sequel?
Are they going to play "She's Like the Wind"? Because I always love that. She's like the wind in my dream.
Could they do a CG Patrick Swayze?
I hope not, because that would be.
I hope not.
That would. I'm just saying, that's one of the things I got a little concerned about when they were like talking about in Rise of Skywalker with Carrie Fisher. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna use some old footage of Carrie Fisher that we had cut out of the other Star Wars or the new."
At least it's age appropriate though, and it's not like footage from
Yeah, she was in or something. Yeah, I watched Rise of Skywalker and I was just like, God, this sucks. I just am not enjoying it. And I
was disappointed I actually wasted time watching those movies, to be honest.
So, and there was a thing where they were saying that George Lucas, they were like, why don't we actually do George Lucas's idea that they originally rejected? So that's funny. And then they were talking about Ewan McGregor talked about coming back to do the Obi-Wan series. He signed the contract for that. So they're going to do
Disney Plus or something.
It was supposed to be a movie, and now they're saying it's going to be like a miniseries on Disney Plus.
Why don't they actually try to create something new?
Well, if you bring Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan and do a little...
No. I mean, stop focusing on old IPs. Disney come out with their own shit, maybe.
All the Disney Star Wars stuff, I didn't enjoy any of it. I gotta be honest. Like ever since Disney has bought, and except for Rogue, I did like Rogue One. Although I've had some Star Wars friends of mine that I liked. I liked Rogue One. So it didn't. I thought it was well written, and I thought it set up you could watch that and then go into episode 1 or whatever, or episode 4, A New Hope. So because it takes, especially the ending, it would be, it would be, it takes place right before A New Hope. So, you see Vader comes up, all that kind of thing. So, Art Chris says new would be great with Star Wars Rogue One and Mandalorian. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I enjoy
it. Let's not even mention the old characters if you're going to be doing Star Wars, anything Star Wars moving forward. Like, seriously.
Well, it would be nice
to create a completely new IP, people.
So, yeah, so that's what I'm kind of. They said George Lucas was going to be involved with the Obi-Wan thing. That he was going to be working with Ewan McGregor. So I was, at least, because he doesn't want his he doesn't want Star Wars to die. Because what they did on these prequels, and J.J. Abrams is a fan. And
there are a lot of kids that like it. I mean, it won't die. When that first prequel came out, I thought it was a piece of garbage, and I didn't watch the other two. And
I thought it was just
people watched them. So what are you going to do?
It was
people like it.
I watched what was it, The Force Awakens, and I just thought it was okay. It was beautifully shot and all that kind of stuff. It just didn't feel like Star Wars to me. Then Rise of Skywalker came, and I was just like.
The milking
the last Jedi.
Obviously a huge turn.
The second one, Return of the Last Jedi. I went to the movie theater and saw that. I was hot. I said, okay, this guy doesn't understand Star Wars.
It's such a bad movie.
It was, and then Rise of Skywalker was worse. And JJ actually directed that one, and he was calling himself trying to fix. Well, that was what's so funny. He was trying to fix what Rian Johnson did. So it was terrible, and he was trying to fix.
That's on Disney. That's Disney's fault for not having a plan. Like, they just needed to know what each movie was going to be. You can have different directors and shit. You just have to have a game plan. I don't understand that.
I agree with this. Rogue One was good. Solo. I watched Solo finally, and it did not suck the way I had heard. I heard it sucked so bad, and I watched it, and I was like, it's not as bad as people have said. I didn't like some of the stuff where they had the little feminist. She's a feminist robot, and
I didn't watch it.
And Lando and her apparently have a complicated relationship. I
bet Lando has a lot of complicated relationships. Really,
so he's in a sexual relationship with a robot. That just seems strange to me.
Are you a Doctor Who person? I can't remember.
Yeah, but
okay. Did you ever watch Torchwood?
I love Torchwood. Yes.
So Captain Jack is he'll fuck anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Alien. Like, as long as it's alive and has a pulse, like, he'll be into it. Like, he's just a sexual being.
I love it.
In that first season of Doctor Who, he's like all over anything and anyone.
I
could see Lando being kind of like a Captain Jack.
Because they brought Captain Jack in with the ninth Doctor, which was, what's his name, Christopher
Eccleston. Yeah.
Also played. Didn't they have it? They played him play Destro in that horrible. How do you mess G.I. Joe up?
It's just a stupid cartoon. I think it'd be easy to fuck it up.
No, G.I. Joe is dope, and they messed it up.
Yeah, but it's a pretty simplistic cartoon. I mean, it's just shoot him up. Yeah, they should have just made a straightforward action movie and just left it at that. I
couldn't believe it. I was like, this is G.I. Joe, and it's terrible. Because I'm trying to remember, they had Magic Mike XXL or whatever in there as Duke, and then they had Marlon Wayans as one of the cats. I was like, man, it wasn't very good.
At the daycare when I was younger, it was like first and second grade. We'd go to this lady's house in the morning, and she had a son my age. And you'd watch TV like before we'd walk to school or whatever. And I always wanted to watch My Little Pony. And it's his house, so we always had to watch G.I. Joe. So I always had like a slight resentment towards G.I. Joe. That's like one of my more girly things about me. I liked My Little Pony back in the day. Rainbow Bright. She-Ra.
Yeah, let's see. So, our Chris says Last G.I. Joe was okay. That's the one with Bruce Willis. They brought Bruce Willis in, and The Rock was Roblox's cousin. Yeah, it was. I thought it was definitely better than the first one. I will agree with that. But
wait, they made more than
yeah,
one of those?
they made a second one. What was it? What was it?
I guess the first one made money.
I'm trying to remember. It was called The Right. What? No, it's not that it made money. It's just that G.I. Joe, they had spent so much on the film rights from Hasbro, and it did okay. Because let me see, the first one, which one was the one was The Rise of Cobra, but the second one had The Rock and Bruce Willis in it, and
by that time, Bruce Willis is just an old man. Like, come on, seriously.
God.
Come on.
I still haven't watched all of, because Bruce Willis remade Death Wish, which I was thinking that we're gonna, I'm old fan of like old Charles Bronson movies, so like Death Wish, and then they did Death Wish with Bruce Willis, and I was like, this is what he should do because he is getting older. He's like
right, old man action. He needs to do old man action.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was real smart. Where at some point the young action star becomes the old action star. Clint Eastwood is as Dirty Harry. He allows Dirty Harry to get you start getting a little nervous because Dirty Harry's clearly getting older and all this kind of stuff. So I watched him in The Mule too. I didn't know if you saw Clint Eastwood in The Mule. Where he's the drug mule and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And he just, if he's doing a film now, everybody just because he had like Bradley Cooper's in it and all, it's like everybody just like, oh yeah, I just want to work with Clint Eastwood again. And, so he'd done that American Sniper with and all this kind of thing. So I just, like I said, they're relaunching these properties. There's supposed to be a He-Man movie coming, although it clearly got delayed because of COVID. So I was really.
What are they going to do with the He-Man movie? Seriously, for the audience that's going to really want to watch this and pay for it, what are you going to do with the He-Man movie?
I don't like the guy they cast to play He-Man. The guy that played the guy they cast is Prince Adam.
Like, can it actually be good? Can it actually be good?
I'm curious because, like I said, once I saw the actor that was cast,
I'm gonna look it up,
and I was like, "That's not hashtag not my He-Man." So I was.
He must not be very muscular.
He's not, but he actually talked about that a couple months ago. He was getting because they were supposed to. I think they were supposed to start shooting later this year. There was a couple things that was supposed because they were supposed to start shooting Spider-Man 3 this year.
Is it Noah Centineo?
Yeah, that's him.
What?
Yeah, it was the
what?
He-Man will be terrible. Original canon movie was so low, but I don't think I watched that movie, and they didn't fully it. I've had a couple of my friends go, go back and watch He-Man, the one with Dolph Lundgren, and they actually because they had Frank Langella as Skeletor and all this kind of stuff, and they actually spent a lot of money on that. You got to remember, Chris, that He-Man movie came out in the 80s. They actually did spend money on that. Dolph Lundgren got
he
paid.
Was the popular action star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they made it more kind of sci-fi-ish, and it was different.
And wasn't Skeletor pretty cheesy too? Just the way he.
Yeah, it was a couple months ago. They actually had it where you can watch it on YouTube for free with ads. You just had to watch the free YouTube version. I don't know.
Is it going to be the sort of thing where we just have to ignore that he's not like they're probably not going to put a blonde wig on him? Like he's not going to be a blonde dude.
Yeah, because he's definitely not blonde. And if they put a wig on him, they might put a wig. They might.
We kind of touched on this. I think it was when we were off the air maybe on Wednesday, but because we're talking about The Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, the black girl.
When it comes to, and maybe I'm gonna side with you a little bit more this time with this one. When it comes to an IP or something like this that carries so much nostalgia and sometimes the characters got to look how they looked. Like, the whole point is the nostalgia factor. Otherwise, why are we even making this movie? Seriously. Like, again, I say create a new IP, or if you're going to remake it, like, why are we remaking this?
But
I guess
no, but
I know the answer to that question.
I want to go back to Chris's comment because he said it was smart because it place in the real world, not Eternia. But they actually could have done kind of a hybrid of it because when they do these IPs like this, they're taking these IPs and they're not wanting to just make one movie. Like
right
with Hasbro or Mattel or whatever, you're like, okay, we're gonna launch this. They're wanting to do it like Harry Potter, where they can make like 8 movies. There, you don't give a company like 40, 50, $100 million just to license something because the company's going to get their money whether the movie's successful or not. It's like, oh, okay, you just option the right to do this.
Well, I was trying to get through The Hobbit again, and I was just like, ugh. The beginning of that second movie was like, all right, done.
I bought I actually bought the extended edition.
What? Why? Why would you waste your life like that? No.
The Lord of the Rings movies, I did enjoy. I bought the extended edition.
I love the extended cut of those. That's a different story for me. But man, anyway, let's talk about the boring ass Hobbit. But that's just an example of extending something out.
They could have done 2 movies on the Hobbit, but they wanted to do 3 because they were like,
they want to make that money.
Well, not to mention, from what I understood, they had their rights from the Tolkien estate were gonna lapse if they did. They were like, hey, we better make these movies because like the Lord of the Rings rights that Amazon, they spent like $250 million to the Tolkien estate to option Lord of the Rings, and they're spending. They're going to spend just on the episodes. They're saying they're going to be spending like about $12 million an episode, and now that's been pushed back too. The Lord of the Rings show has been pushed because I started following the Amazon Lord of the Rings Twitter, and they were starting to get ready because they were supposed to go. They were supposed to be shooting this summer. They were supposed
Is it Silmarillion stuff, like prequel stuff, or
it definitely will touch on some things that are in the Silmarillion, but it's like sets like 600 years before the events of the thing. But one thing I wanted to say to Chris's comment here, remember Prince Adam's mother was actually from Earth, so they could have done. They did that backstory on her, which they had never. I don't know. They probably just it looked like towards those that last season or so of He-Man, they just started like, hey, let's just make shit up. Oh, Adam's a twin. His sister got kidnapped and moved into another. That's what they did to She-Ra thing.
Because it's all about selling toys. I had a ton of She-Ra toys.
So Adam's mother was actually an astronaut, and her ship. And I was like, wait a minute. So what happened to the other crew members? And don't tell me that she came into space all by herself.
Maybe she did.
Or the other, either way, she got stranded on Eternia and fell in love with King, whatever the king, or I think the guy was the prince and his father was because the He-Man cartoon prequels that they did on the Cartoon Network kind of touched on some of that, but Prince Adam's mother is from Earth, so you could do a story where He-Man or Adam ends up on Earth. But I like the fact,
just like Hercules. He walks the Earth helping people or whatever. It's pretty.
Or he gets blasted, like Skeletor comes up with some beam to kill He-Man or whatever. Boom, and then all of a sudden he's on Earth, and then he's trying to thwart Skeletor, and he's like, oh, this is where my mother's from or whatever, and they're doing, has
there been any talk what this new one, like what the story might be or anything, or are they way too early for any of that stuff?
I'm trying to think. I thought they brought the Solo guys in or something. From what I saw, they were trying to bring like top script guys in. They want this to work. They don't want a shitty script. I was like, they were like, hey.
And who's producing this? Who's putting this out? Do you know? Like what company?
Sure, because they've also got the Netflix cartoon that Kevin Smith is working on. Kevin Smith has got a He-Man cartoon coming. He says that he's actually, although they said it's going to focus more on like She-Ra, which is good. I don't know. It just sounds weird because I was like,
why make a He-Man cartoon? She-Ra had her own cartoon.
but then they did the new She-Ra, which
with
that
Bo. I always hated Bo. He was such a
although I had some people that watched the new She-Ra and they said it's not as bad as you think, and
I can't be bothered. I don't really care for cartoons like that now. At this time in my life,
I love animation, so like especially like that what's the guy Miyazaki, like if I say like a Spirited Away, I know
that's different. To me, that's different than trying to remake some 80s cartoon that was only made to sell toys. Like it wasn't, it's pretty surface level stuff. I mean, we can create a cool story and make it good, but it was still a very simplistic cartoon in the 80s that kids like.
It is kind of crazy, like because they had all the He-Man and She-Ra stuff up on Netflix. And as I started watching, I said, man, it really wasn't that deep. He-Man had a profound, you don't understand it. Some of the stuff that, yes, it is. This is live right now. So
they are live.
So if you have like if we're saying stuff about He-Man or whatever, and you want to, yes, this is live right now. We are live. We're gonna do it live.
Give us your thoughts.
But I'm just it really wasn't that deep. But as a child, when I watched He-Man, it spoke to me. But as an adult, when I go back and watch He-Man, I go, it really wasn't that good. It's like they kept reusing the same footage, and like you see, like, okay, He-Man's running down the hill, and he's like, they do that weird running style with He-Man. It was, and they would just take the same footage and say, okay, we need a He-Man shot running, because even like when they use that same footage sometimes when Adam was running, and they were like, okay, use the He-Man footage of just use the same footage because He-Man and Adam are the same person.
Yeah,
but they just paint. They put the pink. They just draw that pink shirt on it.
Yeah.
And then, but it's just so you can clearly tell that they use the same footage.
Yeah. Well, it's all just to create a little worm in your brain so that you, the little boy, will buy that fucking toy. Like, man, I love strawberry shortcake. I had so many strawberry shortcake. And they smelled like whatever they were. I loved that.
Yeah, like,
I think one of the things I don't like about the whole nostalgia factor when it comes to these movies is like it's kind of what we're saying. You were just saying, like, it's not like the cartoon was very deep. You liked it when you're a kid, and it connected with you at that age for whatever reason it did. You're a grown man now, and we're all grown now. And now they're just making movies for us that try to appeal to our nostalgia instead of making something that we just might actually like. I don't know. I'm just sick of the nostalgia revamps. I'm just so sick of it.
And Kevin Smith, it's gonna be it's still gonna be a cartoon. It's gonna be on Netflix. Yeah, it's definitely it's gonna be a cartoon on Netflix, which they're in pre-development now. It may be out, but Netflix got some really cool shit coming up. They've got Neil Gaiman's Sandman coming. Although that was supposed to go in, they're supposed to start shooting that this year too. A lot of this stuff has been pushed back because of the COVID. So Netflix Sandman was supposed to be shooting that, and it's supposed to launch next year. So a lot of stuff's been pushed back. Matter of fact, I saw some of my friends were watching Umbrella Academy.
I was just gonna say they finally released season 2, which I haven't started watching yet, but I liked season 1. I really did.
My buddies on Facebook are like, "Yes, Umbrella Academy is back," and I was like, "I haven't gotten through the first season, but I
really liked the way it ended."
So did you?
I watched the Disney Cartoon Hour on whatever channel that was when I was young. Sorry, what, Antonio?
That was, but I don't know. I haven't, like I said, Umbrella Academy, I've heard was good. I watched The Witcher. Witcher is supposed to be coming back within the next few weeks, I think, and it's not that they shot more episodes. It's just like, it was the first season was abbreviated, and then they were like, but.
How many episodes was it?
It was only 8. or something like that, 8 or 9. Yeah, but they were like, oh, well, we'll come back, and it's supposed to be by the end of this month. We're going to get the rest of the. They knew people were going to be going crazy and wanting more Witcher, and so yeah, they shot and extended, and then obviously the COVID happened because they're supposed to be coming back to shoot more, and everything. Like I said, everything's been pushed back because they were supposed to shoot Spider-Man 3. They're supposed to be shooting Spider-Man 3 like right now. They were supposed to go
confused with the Spider-Man movies, like three of which ones, like the new batch, like
with was it Tom?
There's been so many different Spider-Man movies.
Well, yeah, well, this you.
I tuned out after the second Sam Raimi one, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just in general.
First Sam Raimi was good. Second Sam Raimi with Doc Octopus.
I hated it.
I thought that was that. To me, that's a gold standard for superhero movies.
The second one?
Spider-Man 2.
Really? I thought it was awful.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it, but I only saw it one time.
The ones with, what was it, Tobey Maguire?
Where he's like holding up the train and like his mask comes off. And, I hated it.
Oh, Doc Ock was perfect. All that stuff. With Anthony Molina. As Doc Ock. I thought it. Matter of fact, I bought it on. But you can tell when I like these movies because I buy them on the DVD or whatever. But now, when Spider-Man 3 came and they had him with his hair dyed black and he was doing the dirty dancing and stuff. He was doing like John Travolta. When he started walking down the street and he was doing that John Travolta dance and stuff, I said, oh my God. Sam, because I don't know if Sam just said hell with it and just did, because Sam can.
I think he did.
Movies. Well, they interfered with him. He didn't even want to use Venom in this third one.
I'm sure he probably just threw his hands up and said, I'll just do what they want me to do and make
They made him use Venom. They was like, no, we want to use Venom. We got merchandise we can sell. And he wanted to use like Electro. They were saying he was wanting to do like something close to like Sinister Six type stuff. So he's like, okay, Harry Osborn is like the Hobgoblin, and then it's Alfred Molina. Okay, yeah, because I knew it was something. I couldn't remember that Andrew Molina. What was it? Yeah, and I agree. Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock was different. Yeah, it was excellent. Yeah, it was definitely. I definitely think that's a gold standard for superhero movies. But then when they brought Spider-Man 3 and he's doing goth Spider-Man, emo Spider-Man.
I didn't even see it. Have no idea.
They had Bryce Howard as Gwen Stacy. She was awful as Gwen Stacy. And I love Bryce Howard is really, really smart. And I think she's a great actress. She was terrible as Gwen Stacy.
What's a good movie she's been in, though?
I was going to say that. What was the one she did with M. Night Shyamalan where she was the blind girl? Yeah, that movie wasn't very good. Was it The Village? Or
The Village, yeah. You say M. Night Shyamalan, and I'm already like...
Shamalama Ding Dong. But, God, yeah, she wasn't... Because, hell, that was... and that was Joaquin Phoenix, and that whole thing was Joaquin Phoenix had to wash the funk off of that, and then he ended up doing Gladiator, and that Gladiator was obviously incredible.
Yeah, that's another one of those one and done movies for me. It's a little too cheesy for me.
What, Gladiator or
Gladiator? Gladiator.
Yeah, are you not entertained?
Also, I hate Russell Crowe. So no, I wasn't entertained. Okay. I wasn't entertained.
No, watch Russell Crowe in The Insider.
I won't. Don't worry.
My God, he got robbed for the Oscar, and I mean they gave him the Oscar for Gladiator, and that was strange because a lot of people like they gave him, and maybe they do that because they said that they gave him the Oscar for Gladiator because he got robbed for the Oscar in The Insider.
So who got robbed that year since he got it for stupid Gladiator? I wonder.
I'll have to go back and look at who.
not a serious question.
No. I need to look.
Don't need to.
But no, when he was nominated for The Insider, I mean, he put on weight for that movie and stuff, made himself look all. But he was brilliant when they were doing that whole the cigarette companies, the tobacco scandals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was brilliant in that, and you knew you had Al Pacino in there. Man, I thought that was incredible. The Insider is a great movie. Like, you know, the whole thing with who was that? The guy that played Chris. He played Chris Wallace from 60 Minutes and all that. I mean, I just thought the Insider was incredible. But then you look at Gladiator, which I thought was great, and it's Ridley Scott, which I love Ridley Scott movies. Ridley Scott's
he's hit or miss for me. Just in general, kind of
really bad that I've seen.
I thought Prometheus was pretty terrible.
I enjoyed Prometheus. See,
I thought it was
all right, Jill. All right, now we started not to be friends now. Hold on now.
We can have different tastes. It's all good.
Oh, like, let's see. I actually enjoyed all three of the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, and that movie, The Village, was a book.
Okay, when he says stole the premise of, as in like whatever he stole it from, he didn't give them credit for it. Everything is stolen from something, usually books, but usually they'll say based off of this.
You ought to watch those. There's a couple of YouTube interviews with that. I can't remember that black woman that sued the Wachowskis over and Joel Silver over The Matrix. She didn't win the lawsuit though, but she apparently had written these novels, and now people's like, oh, a black woman wrote The Matrix, and so it does sound like there were some very similar ideas in her book, and she had submitted a story treatment for they had some kind of contest that they ran.
Didn't the Wachowskis either just come out and say, or maybe they've come out and say this already, that like Matrix was supposed to be or is a trans story or something?
I don't everything. I just think it's weird that you got two brothers that transition, because the one brother transitioned and then the other brother was like, "No, I'm keeping my penis" or whatever. And then he said, "How the hell with it? He's right. I'm going to transition too." So they both transitioned.
I'm sure there's a little more thought put into it than that.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because at first the other brother decided that it's like, you know what, I support my brother transitioning, but I'm gonna stay. And then he thought about it and he goes, you know what, I'm lying to myself. I need to transition too. So I thought that
was he living as a woman before the one that didn't transition and then transitioned?
I don't think, or maybe
curious.
I don't know. It almost made me wonder, was it like what they call it, the power of suggestion? He's like, maybe I do want to be a woman. Maybe my brother's right, and I want to be a woman as well. And
you're like assuming that the other brother was like pressuring him or something.
I don't know. It was just, I just thought that was weird, because when the one brother transitioned, the other one stayed. And then a couple years later, he goes, yeah, I'm transitioning too.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
So it's like Archer said, wasn't The Matrix based on The Invisibles by Grant Moore? See, that's the thing.
I don't know. It's probably based off of all those things, different things.
I can't say that because and another thing, I remember the Wachowskis said that they had so many influences on what drove them to create that story. You know, there's definitely some like Japanese like manga anime influence. You can't watch The Matrix, especially. So that's when they did the Animatrix, because I got the box set and it had the Animatrix disc in there. It had like all the little like 9 little shorts or whatever. They clearly they say, hey, let's do, you know, different animated versions.
And anime goes into such crazy places. Like, I'm not up on Japanese anime at all. Like, I couldn't. There's probably a story just like it in anime, probably, because there's such wild stories in general, or can be.
Let me see.
They do so many different things.
Let's see. Michael Curtis calling you out over Doug TeNapel. Okay. Michael said you have to ask him to use.
What is going on? Am I getting dropped into some drama?
I don't even know Micah. I mean, me and Micah streamed on Ethan's channel. I don't even know Micah, so he can say what he wants. I don't care. I was like, I don't even care. I'm like, dude, I don't even talk to you, so it's that's weird. I was,
Hmm.
I don't even know Micah, so I don't know what he's saying. I don't. And we've never had any conversation that did not involve like us in Ethan's chat or whatever. So I don't even know Micah, and so yeah, he can say what he wants. I don't care because I'm definitely still cool with Doug, and you know, uh, but I was honest with Doug about him leaving Comicsgate, and then it's just not that he left; it was just the way he left. I thought it was a little strange, and but that's what it is. So yeah, it is what it is. So let me see. Matrix Revolutions is garbage. So have you seen? Um,
Probably not, knowing me.
okay, yeah, yeah, I'd be very surprised if that. I don't, and
What does
whatever.
fall in line even
Yeah,
mean?
I was
I mean,
like, yeah,
seriously.
you're talking to someone I haven't talked to in 6 months,
Now it's
and
really starting to sound
yeah, that's what I'm
cultish.
saying. That's just it.
From my
Just
outsider perspective, I'm
and
like, what
so,
the
Mr.
fuck is
Xenomorph,
happening?
yeah, I don't care. But that's the thing, Mr. Xenomorph. You're bringing this to me, and I don't care. That's why I'm like, I don't even know Micah, so Micah can say what he wants.
I
You
did
can't.
just rewatch Alien though last
Yeah.
week. Uh,
Like, yeah,
it's
yeah.
so slow. I don't know if you've seen Alien in a while or in a long time. It's a very slow movie.
Oh,
Anyway.
shit. Okay. Johnny. Okay.
Now what's going on?
Okay, Johnny.
No, don't even Antonio.
I'm about to say Johnny. I think Johnny about to get blocked because Johnny is um yeah, I'm like Johnny about to get blocked. Um
Man, drama today.
yeah, can you watch this? Yeah, I am on I'm on a couple of platforms. Let me show you this. Let me see. Yeah, youtube.com/a card press will take you right here and you'll be in the live chat. And but um let's see. So I'm not in on any inside drama. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm just sitting here streaming and notice this showed up in my chat. So I'm not in any drama. You haven't seen me in anything. So I don't know what the hell. Like I said, I don't know. I don't
Plus,
again.
this is the Jill stream. There's usually no CG
That's
drama
what I'm
here
saying.
because I know shit about shit,
I don't even me and
and I
Micah
don't
don't
give a shit.
follow each other. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I am. Yeah, Johnny, you're being annoying. So let me just get rid of Johnny. Let me just get rid of him. Yeah, I'm so
Hey,
sorry.
sometimes people are
Like, yeah,
sensitive. What are you gonna do?
showing up in my chat. Let me just block you. And then that way it'll be over with. All right, there you go, Johnny. There you go. Um, so yeah. Um, there you go. So yeah, I'm sensitive, Johnny. I just after how many times have you been here doing the same I was like, dude, that's why I kept telling you how many times I say, dude, get some new material. And it was just
Yeah, see,
like,
that's the thing. You'll actually keep highlighting his ass if he came up with something new, and I would have just not highlighted it at all. Again, another
yeah, I
difference
was just
between you
like,
and
yeah,
me.
yeah. I feel like if he was, let me see. Okay, let me get Amy. Not trying to bring the drama, just wanted to let you know Mike Curtis is doing you. I don't even know Micah though, so that's what I'm saying. So whatever Micah and so like whatever Micah said, I don't know Micah. Micah damn sure don't know me, so I don't care. He can say what he
So,
wants.
right, Alien Xenomorph, just tell everyone to ignore Micah,
Yeah, I
basically.
mean, me and Micah don't even talk. The only time I've talked to him is when we were on Ethan's channel together, and we were, he had talked about maybe us doing because he wanted to promote his book or whatever, and I was like, and I said, yeah, and then we never got together, and then whatever he's doing, he's doing. So I was like, I don't care. I was like, I don't even know Micah, so Mike can say what he wants. I just don't care. So yeah. This is boom. Yeah, I'm here for yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm not even doing that shit. That's why I'm like, oh, I just don't care. But
All right. So what? So now we got to get back on track.
Yeah.
Well, we're going by the seat, flying by the seat of our pants today. We kind of didn't have anything super
No, because I just
set
want
up or anything. We're
I
just
know
chit
you and
chatting.
I talk and like I don't know. Yeah,
Or is there more shit happening?
Yeah, there's more. Like I said, I don't Micah and Liam and all that. Yeah, I don't care.
Matrix. Yeah, we did talk about the Matrix.
Yeah, okay. So it was
I don't
like,
even remember how we got on the Matrix.
yeah, okay. Well, we were talking about all the because that was something that actually I'm glad that got brought back because I was about to ask you before all this started happening.
Mm-hmm.
There has been some footage released of Keanu Reeves and what's the girl that plays Trinity.
I don't know her name.
They're shooting Matrix 4.
Okay.
And so, although I thought Trinity died in the third one, so it was.
Never saw the third one.
Yeah, I've got the box set. I thought it looked to me that Trinity died. To me, so but she is clearly back.
It's the Matrix, right? Anything can happen. They can create some sort of story, or it's fine.
Yeah, Carrie Ann Moss, she did die.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, I thought. Now, here's the thing. I actually like Matrix 2. I thought Matrix 2. When I saw Matrix 2, I was like, oh shit, this is kind of dope, man. And I was like, I thought it was interesting. And then, but they didn't stick the landing. Although the visual effects in 3, like that big crowd thing where they had Neo fight like 100 agents, whatever what's it, Agent? What's his Agent Smith?
Agent Smith. Yeah, it's like it's something generic. Hey, we did terrible TV endings. Maybe at some point we should come up with a list of terrible movie endings that we both hate. I bet they'll be totally different, our lists.
Yeah, so I was like,
I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but I know there's many I hate.
Yeah, but
I know they're out there.
What was it? Yeah, Matrix 2 thought was very strong. I love the with the Merovingian and the twins and all that. I thought it was really cool. Obviously special effects and they had a budget. Then Matrix 3, it started okay. And then it got weird. And yeah,
did they try to get too clever or too wild with the story? Is that the problem with it? Just a little too stupid?
Okay, hold on. So yeah, Neo brought. Okay, I know he did something where he used his abilities or something. But Neo died. It looked although they didn't say Neo was dead, it looked like his body was getting dragged off by the drones or whatever because he made a deal with the Matrix. I remember that. That was he made some kind of agreement with the living entity that controlled the Matrix, and it was he made a deal. And because apparently when you watch the Matrix, you find out that this was like the 7th or 8th time that they rebooted. That, they had apparently they keep having to reboot and start off with 8 humans and the machines, and then they
Is it always Neo that fucks everything up?
No, there's always someone that gets Neo's powers because he was
gotcha.
He's the aberration. He's they can't they can't.
So he's like Jesus or something. Is that the point?
So like every time they start over, someone inherits the powers that Neo has. Because it's a glitch or whatever, so they can't. Someone ends up like, oh,
and they've never not become like awakened with by their powers.
Well, obviously,
it's always messed it up.
Well, that's the thing with the Matrix. The machines have tried different versions because that was one of the things that the man tried to what was the architect guy, the guy that was the complete control of the guy. He kind of was dressed like Colonel Sanders with the white suit and the beard. But he was explaining that
I think I've seen that scene.
They kept trying to give the humans what they wanted, and this was when they they felt like it doesn't matter what they do, they couldn't quite figure out, like if they tried to make it too perfect, the humans rebelled against it, because the reality, humans need conflict and all. That was what he was trying to explain to Neo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we tried to make it a perfect world with no war, no hunger, and that the humans were like unplugging themselves and dying, and they couldn't because they needed the conflict. They said, he was trying to explain to him, he was like, you guys are like warlike people, and even when we give you everything, your world is perfect. There's no racism, there's no crime, everything. It's like, you guys don't like that because you need, deep down in your subconscious, in your core, you need conflict. So then they upgraded the Matrix and started again with a new set of humans. And this time they said, okay, well, we'll just make it look like the world that they came from, where there would be people homeless, or there's crime, and there's conflict and racism, weird stuff. So, at that point, that Matrix seemed to be more stable. But there were people that had unplugged from the Matrix, and they like that city Zion, they said that city had been rebuilt like 6 or 7 times or whatever. Because there's always going to be humans that get out of the Matrix and then they go against the machines. There's a war between the humans and the machine. They keep doing it. So that whole thing, he was explaining that is like, so, and he even told Neo, he was like, pick the 7 other people or something, so that because the machines were going to drill into Zion and destroy it. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, so
we'll start over again.
They were just going to start over again. And Neo was like, no. But the only reason the machines were going to come to the table this time to actually negotiate with the humans was because of Agent Smith. Agent Smith became a glitch that the machine could. There were obviously other glitches. That's where the Merovingian, that they were like talking about, like every now and again you would see when you'd find out like the myths about vampires and werewolves and stuff. That's actually the different programs in the computer, like rebelling, whatever.
Maybe I should check out the second one. I haven't watched Matrix in so long.
I thought the second one was strong. And then it's just that they had this big storyline. And then, so I'm actually curious about Matrix 4. I just didn't like the way 3 ended, but I really like Keanu Reeves. And they just said that they're shooting, I tweeted that one out too, John Wick 5. So we knew there was going to be a John Wick 4 just because of the way John Wick 3 ended, right? So we knew we were getting, they had already said, they said, okay, John Wick 4 is coming. But then now they said, okay, so when we start shooting John Wick 4, we're going to shoot John Wick 5 too. They're going to do Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Nice.
They're going to put it together. They're going to shoot one big mega movie and chop it into 2 parts. So yeah,
and we're getting Bill and Ted, so that'll be fun.
I saw the trailers to that, and
it'll be just as stupid as the first 2, and it'll be fine.
Although it looks like, based on the trailer, that Ted's son and Bill's daughter are going to be together.
Yeah, it makes
sense. They have a son and a daughter, and it was like,
it's fine. They're old men. It's fine.
Yeah. And I don't know. It looked like they use. I need to look. It looks like they use the same girls. Although I think they switched.
Good. Thank you for the heads up, Chris. Because if shit gets boring, I will fast forward. I will. Especially if it's something I don't necessarily care about. If I just am kind of wanting to be entertained and I'm bored, like, I don't know, I'll either turn it off or whatever.
Yeah, so it was like I said, I am curious. Maybe if 4 and 5 of the Matrix are good, I can watch Matrix 1, 2, and then skip 3 and then watch 4. Although it'll be weird to watch, but I'm like Joey Pants. He's like, I don't want to remember any of this shit. He's like, just bring me. He just make sure I'm rich, and I don't want to remember any of this shit. He just told me, he's like, yeah.
He makes it and moves on.
Yeah, because
for him.
I was just I always love
Just
that
a job.
because he's betraying all the other humans, and he's just like, look, I don't care about any of these people. He's like, because he realized that he was plugged into the Matrix, but he was like, man, it sucks. It sucks in Zion, and I want to be in the Matrix, but I don't want to be poor in the Matrix. I want to be rich in the Matrix.
Right.
And so he told him, he's like, they were like, what do you, he gave him, to give his demands, and he was like, I don't want to remember any of this shit. And so, yeah.
Doesn't get his rich life.
Yeah, I agree with Chris here. It's like, that's how I feel about Disney. I don't want to remember. So,
except you always will now if you're a Disney person at all. Like if you ever go to Disneyland, it's so
yeah, the whole thing. So
and not
yeah.
Anyway, Disneyland's so small as it is. It's not like Disney World. So whenever there's something new, they just like cram it in. So it just makes less space and makes it way more claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I hate large crowds.
What I'm trying to think, isn't that one of that Disney Star Wars thing? Isn't that thing out there in California? I thought.
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. It's like they shoved it like by Tomorrowland or whatever. And I'm just saying Disneyland in general, there's a limited amount of space. It's not like Orlando where they can just like expand to where all the land they bought. Disney World is way more spread out than Disneyland. Disneyland is a little bit more compact. The original.
They released their quarterlies and they had lost.
I saw that
$24 billion in a quarter. I was like,
no one's got that. You see where they make their money? The parks, right?
Yeah, the theme parks, and they also do the Disney cruises and all.
Yes, the cruises. They have so many of that shit, and they have they have like resorts and crap too.
Yeah, and that's a very lucrative business for them. So when you have a global pandemic, all of a sudden people can't take vacations. Yeah, and so they're wanting to like, hey, can we just get past all this and get back to business as usual and all this kind of stuff. So I just that's weird. Yeah.
So what else is going on?
I don't know.
I don't know either. What's today again? Friday.
Let's see. So hold on. Matrix. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, I was like, I'm trying to remember the shooting. Let me see. It was a couple things because because I mentioned 4 and 5 of John Wick.
Maybe we should ask in chat. What's a movie ending that you guys hate? What's going on in the world that you're annoyed with?
Endings. I hate all of them.
Yeah, right. If it ends up with 2 people falling in love, you're gonna love it.
I only said that for movies like Mighty Aphrodite, which I thought Mighty Aphrodite was really good, and then Woody Allen did this fucked up ending where they should have ended up together, but he says, "No, I don't believe in happy endings." And
yeah, he's a depressed little man. Like that's unrealistic for him.
He purposely let those 2 characters, even though he fully established that they could be together, because he was sleeping with her, he got her pregnant, and then she was pregnant, and then he broke up with because she was a hooker. That was the whole thing, that she was a hooker.
I never saw it. I'm not a huge Woody Allen fan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was a prostitute, and he fell in love with her, but he was seeing someone, and he broke up. So he ended up he was single. He ended up.
That's the Mira Sorvino, right? The woman.
So yeah, even though he was single, he didn't want to. He was like, oh no, because he had actually fell in love with her. He didn't want to go and because he was like, hey, she's a prostitute. She probably she probably didn't really have feelings for me, and she really did have feelings for him. And she's pregnant, but she didn't want to bother him with the baby. She was like, hey, I'm a prostitute. I'll just raise this child on my own. So even though he's single and she's single and no longer a prostitute and carrying his baby, she decides to go off and have this. I think they had a daughter on her own, and raise this child on her own.
It's pretty sad.
It really is, but the
depressing.
movie itself, Mighty Aphrodite, was fantastic. I thought it was fantastic, and I understood why a lot of people thought it was strange that she won. You know, they were like, "Oh man,
oh yeah, that's right. She did win
the Oscar,"
right.
but she was brilliant in that. It's not as weird as Marissa Tomei when she won her Oscar.
My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, but I love this is
it's a great movie. It's a fun movie. Yeah. It's good in it too. But
My Cousin Vinny, but don't sleep on it. Not to mention it took place. Its setting was my home state of Alabama.
And it's one of those first movies where you see Ralph Macchio later in his life, and you're like, "Oh my God, Karate Kid's older," and you're like,
"Yeah."
It has that weird nostalgia factor to it.
He looks. Have you watched Cobra Kai? Because he looks strange in that.
No, I haven't. Well, I'm not gonna pay to watch that show. I'm good.
They actually have.
I know what he looks like. I mean, I've seen little.
They're moving. They just sold it to Netflix. It's leaving YouTube. Cobra Kai.
Then I'll watch it when it hits Netflix. Maybe.
Well, I think that you can still watch the full season 2 on. They had it before it was blocked, and whatever the YouTube Red or whatever their little service, it wasn't working. And so,
speaking of Cobra Kai, you and I just watched Back to School last night. Wasn't
that Rodney?
The blonde villains in it. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield and Robert Downey Jr. The blonde villain kid's in it. I don't know what his name is. He's always the same character.
Yeah, he got typecast. Well, see, that's what's so weird about Cobra Kai, because he becomes the hero of Cobra Kai, and Daniel kind of is like a prick.
He got a little too entitled, a little too big for his britches, huh?
Well, yeah, you see Cobra Kai, and Daniel has become, obviously Mr. Miyagi didn't have any children, and he left all his money or all his. Did he have a
lot of money, Mr. Miyagi?
Don't you remember Mr. Miyagi had all those old antique cars and stuff, and that place that.
Yeah, I guess so. He just didn't live a lavish lifestyle. He spent money on the things he liked, like his bonsai trees and old cars.
That one place where he actually gave Daniel a car. He just said pick. It was his birthday. He went out there, and that dude had like 10 cars out there. He was like, "Yeah, just pick whatever you want." And he was just like, "What?" So yeah, well, I mean, you got to remember, Miyagi was a war veteran, and he'd won. I saw Nothing But Trouble. In that Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte, I thought that movie was horrible. Nick Nolte.
Wait, Nothing But Trouble, or is that the one with Dan Aykroyd and Jamie Lee Curtis?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe that.
Help us out, TJ.
Yeah, because that Nothing But Trouble. That's the one with Demi Moore's in that one. God, now I gotta look shit up.
Yeah, no, it's like beep boop boop beep boop.
Yeah, I gotta look shit up. I don't know what's going on. So let me see. Let me see. Nothing but Trouble. But there was Nothing But Trouble. Okay, so that's okay. So yeah, okay. So this comes up.
Oh yeah, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, Chevy Chase, John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, Demi Moore. Yeah, that movie was horrible, although it has a very early appearance from Tupac Shakur.
Really?
And he's still a background dancer with the Digital Underground, but they knew he was trying to be a rapper, and they let him hop on this track called Same Song, and they perform Same Song in Nothing But Trouble, because they get arrested, and the judge that Dan Aykroyd plays, he's in there, and then they do the whole they perform Same Song, and Dan Aykroyd goes, "Okay, I'm gonna let these guys go." Yeah. So let me see. Dan Aykroyd, John Candy. Yeah, that was it. And then Digital Underground, when he was but that's the song with Tupac Shakur. You see him. I guess that was the first movie he was in, because they actually did Nothing But Trouble, or I don't know when they filmed it, but he shot Juice sometime after that. So that's when you realize it, because Tupac didn't actually have much to. He just performed same song with Digital Underground in that movie, and so it was what you saw a lot of the movies in the 80s and in the 90s, where they would bring in a group and they would just have them sing a song, and that was their only, because Digital Underground only got arrested so that they could perform same song in the movie, and then that was it. That was the only purpose. They got arrested, they went before the judge, they said, hey, we're musicians, and he's like, well, sing something, if it's good, I'll let you go. And then they did same song, and the judge even was like, he even played the keyboard or something. It was like Dan Aykroyd was getting in on it, and I was like, okay, yeah, but yeah, it's
Boingo Boingo was in Back to School. The Danny Elfman did the score for it, but the whole band of Oingo Boingo, they perform at a party or something.
Yeah, so yeah, that whole thing, that's weird. And but I'm trying to remember, but that's the only reason that Digital Underground appeared in Nothing But Trouble. They got arrested. They had to perform in order for the judge to like them and let them go. And then
you got to sell that soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s. Got to get that soundtrack.
Same song is actually a good song. So yeah, that's a classic. And obviously it's one of the first times anyone ever heard Tupac Shakur on wax. So I'm a big fan. Tupac's like my favorite rapper. So I love Tupac. So that was him. But then later on, he did Juice. And I mean, it came out within the same. So you had him and Omar Epps, and the other guys that were in Juice, I cannot remember outside of the little cameos. It was like Special Ed was in there. So like they had a couple of rappers that I thought Queen Latifah was in there and stuff. There were a couple of different, because Omar Epps was
Queen Latifah's in there.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, they had, but there was a couple of those movies that came, because they did New Jack City around the same time too. So you got For the New Jack City, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so I was like, okay. So I saw The Gray. It sucked. The Gray sucked. I agree.
What's The Gray?
In that Liam Neeson with those wolves.
Oh, was the wolf one? Yeah,
Fat Fry Freddy was in a bunch of movies. He was in a bunch of movies. Fat Fry Freddy but he's always just like a camp. It was him and someone else I saw in a bunch of movies, the Big Boy, who is not so big anymore. He lost like 400 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Big Boy used to be all over. He used to be all on MTV. He used to be in all these music videos and stuff when I was a kid, or a young teen and stuff. When they were doing hip hop on MTV, they were like, yo, it's the Mickey Vicky Man, Big Boy. Who, and he's a, you go back and you look at those old videos, like I said, he was over 400 pounds. He was a big dude.
He just looks normal now.
Yeah, he's like,
whatever normal is, but man,
he had the skin tightening surgery, because he was like, I had all that loose skin and stuff. He had because I remember him and Will Smith. Will Smith was promoting one of his movies, and he came on the Big Boy show, which I know you see clips of that on YouTube, and he actually gave Will Smith credit for inspiring him to lose weight. He was at some kind of conversation with Will Smith, and all of a sudden he said, man, you know what? No more excuses. I'm going to lose this weight. And he lost it. He didn't, because a lot of people, he said that it kind of ticks him off that some people think he had the lap band surgery. And he's like, no, I worked my ass off to lose this weight. I didn't have a surgery.
Yeah.
He's like, I actually
did. He did it by mental power.
Yeah, but they just thought he did the rich people's thing, like, lipo and a lap band or whatever, and that'll lose. Because hell, Ozzy Osbourne's wife had lap band. She had lap band surgery and gastro bypass, I guess.
Have they ever done like a celebrity, My 600-Pound Life? Give overweight celebrities.
How many overweight celebrities do you have right now?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because
there's got to be some out there.
Well, I saw some.
There's a couple blonde comedians that are kind of big, right?
Amy, I know Amy Schumer has her her
Oh,
little documentary thing where she had her baby.
the
And
thumbnail for that on Netflix is frightening. Frightening. I was like, what? Who is this? What is happening?
she just
And I think was the point. It was like, look how ugly I am.
yeah, Crush Groove, Crush Groovin'.
Oh,
yeah, so like Crush Groove. I definitely remember that. Man, that's man, I had because I remember, LL Cool J was in that, and LL Cool J is hard as hell. And I'm like, man, I mean that what was it? The Fat Boys and Disorderlies. I can't go back.
Disorderlies. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Disorderlies.
Yes.
All that kind of thing. And let me see. Let me see here. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember all the little weird, because like Beat Street. Definitely remember Beat Street.
I can picture the case of that.
You are not. No, here's the thing.
I have watched it.
I watched The Office.
Well, I originally saw the UK Office first, years ago, and I loved that because it's what is it? It's like 8 episodes or something, and that's it.
Well, I like Ricky Gervais, but I watched the American version of The Office, and it was one of those shows where, like Arrested Development, that people keep telling me is like incredible, and I just don't get it. So whatever that is,
I like it enough. I don't think it's incredible, but like I said, I like the UK one because it's a story from beginning to end, and it ends. And it doesn't end after 8 seasons. It ends after 6, episodes, which is kind of all you need, frankly.
Yeah. So,
and Ricky Gervais is in it. So a lot of people don't like Ricky Gervais, but I find him humorous. Usually.
Yeah, but I liked Ricky Gervais. I watched the British version of The Office. It's short and sweet,
And that also has Martin Freeman in it, who's from Sherlock and The Hobbit, and became famous after. But he's excellent in it. He's the Jim character.
Yes,
the original.
That's why I'm saying British television, they just get in and get out.
Yeah,
they don't keep dragging it, because American just a regular season of American television, they
ride that horse till it dies.
Well, it's 22 episodes.
Yeah.
And that's 22 episodes now, because I was watching, they're doing The Fugitive again.
I just saw that. I was like,
with Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, it's on Quibi.
And wait, but who's playing The Fugitive? Somebody else?
Yeah, it's
who else is in it?
Richard Kimball. It's a completely new story, but
who's the actor that's playing The Fugitive?
A guy I've never heard of before.
Okay. But yeah, it's like, Kiefer.
Hell, it's Kiefer Sutherland. He's executive producer and stuff like that. So they're like, hey, I was like, damn.
I've always been a Kiefer fan.
Well, Kiefer, I've started to notice, if you decide to hire Kiefer for a job, okay, Kiefer, like 24,
that's a great first season of a show, by the way. We should do an episode of like shows we liked, but like that maybe just like all you got to do is watch the first season and you can like stop and just enjoy it. We should think about that.
First season of 24, although that ending was weird, because
the ending was weird, but it was such a great ride.
With what's the name? What was it? What's his name that they brought in to play the?
We shouldn't spoil anything in case people haven't seen it. I know it's been on a long time, but it's one of those shows that's better if you watch it.
The actor, I'm trying to remember his name. What's his name? Know. Yeah, he was in the motorcycle movie or whatever. I can't remember.
Motorcycle movie.
With Peter Fonda.
And, Easy Rider. Dennis Hopkins.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper. Yeah, they brought him in.
Hopkins.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper. They brought him in to.
I forgot.
Heroes first season. Yeah, Heroes first. Yeah.
Interesting. I've never ever seen Heroes because you just started hearing bad things.
I watched Heroes Reborn, and they didn't
Uh-huh.
have Hayden Panettiere and all that stuff, and it was weird. But they had the guy that was playing her father, so it was strange.
Huh.
So it was like, okay, he came back, but she was shooting Nashville at that time. So, but Dennis Hopper, they had already shot most of the season of 24, and they kept talking about this villain, and they had shot like at least half the
Sorry,
episode.
everyone. Spoilers.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just
Well, he's
saying
kind of a reveal, don't you think? In the
it's
show,
revealed who plays him, but the whole point was that Kiefer Sutherland's character had heard that this guy.
that's true.
Yeah, that was the whole point. So the only spoiler is that Dennis Hopper is him.
Well, for me at the time, that was pretty. It was like, oh, that is Harper. That's pretty cool. That's
well, a lot of people goofed on his Russian accent.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure, whatever.
Yeah, his Russian accent was not as good as it probably should have been, or whatever. 24 went to weird places.
I never watched it past this first season. Like, I was so good with that first season. It just
That's true. That's
true.
Yeah, I was going there.
True.
Yeah.
You know what, everyone? Fuck it. We're 24, whatever.
Yeah,
Watch it. Great first season. Good stuff. It's just a fun ride. It's just super fun.
Yeah. So that's weird. Nina.
Bitch.
But yeah, Dennis Hopper as the Russian general. I thought that I actually it was okay, but yeah, his Russian accent was not very good. It wasn't very good. And then the next season. Which season was it where he had to go undercover and he got addicted to drugs?
Who?
Yeah,
I don't know. I only watched the first season. That's hilarious.
Because they ended up having to send him back down to like South America or wherever, and he ended up running into Nina down in South America. That's where she fled to. The whole thing was, it might have been 3, but either way, I know he was addicted. He had to pretend to be a drug addict undercover, and he became addicted to drugs for real.
You're making me happy. I stopped at 1, honestly. Like, I'm good. I'm glad. I'm happy.
By the end of it, he had managed through the season. He managed to kick his drug addiction.
Oh, thank goodness! Wait! In 24 hours, or how much were they changed the format?
Yeah, no, they kept the same format.
Interesting.
And then, he met a woman and he fell in love with her. He was trying to, that's right. I forgot his wife everybody. So he ended up rebuilding. He's trying to rebuild his life and start over again. They should have took his daughter out too. When
I was going to ask if the daughter's still in it.
Daughter was annoying, man. His daughter wasn't
great.
Annoying.
That's why in the first season when she gets kidnapped in the episode, you're kind of like, whoa, what's happening? Oh, yeah, kidnap her.
I knew they didn't realize what to do with her. I think it was season 5 or so, and they had her get
it went that long.
Yeah. Oh, they had like over 100 episodes of 24.
Ooh, damn.
And then they brought it back which was what we started this one, a reboot. They brought it back with the reboot with the guy that played Dr. Dre in the NWA movie. Yeah. So now you have a black agent, and so some people were like, but he's not playing Jack Bauer. He was another character. So I don't understand.
And also it's like you've rode the premise into the ground. So now you're going to change it up and expect us to care? Like, I don't.
When they brought 24 back, it just, looked beautiful. The whole thing. It's like when they brought the X-Files back, and okay.
It's like, okay, great. Who cares? Again, come up with something new. When 24 came out, it was like, I told people to actually watch it. I was like, oh my God, you got to watch it. It's so much fun. I'm like, it's ridiculous, but it's fun.
When Kim got, I think she got captured by these like meth heads out in this cabin and then she managed to escape or whatever. She managed to get free.
This is not the first season, right?
This is.
Are you talking about the first season?
Yeah, this is like season 5.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I said they had ran out of ideas.
Similar. Didn't think it.
Escaped the cabin. She was out in the mountains and she escaped. She's trying to get back to her father, and a mountain lion attacked her. And I was like, okay, they've run out of ideas. Okay, so they just had to have it.
It's a rough day.
So I was like, okay, they're 24. And then I remember the nuclear bomb, and then there was a thing where Jack Bauer had there was apparently a Chinese national that was the bad villain of season 5 or so or whatever, and he was protected by the Chinese consulate, and Jack Bauer figured a way to sneak into the Chinese consul and get this guy, so he violated Chinese territory, and then but he won in the end of the season, right? He got away with it, and his fiance, whose father was the president or the senator or whatever, they were in love, and they were gonna, they're gonna get married and all that. I think her father ended up becoming the president. That's what it was.
Okay. Does she die?
No. But Jack is happy. He's like, oh, I finally got this woman. And then all of a sudden, this van pulls up, and it's the Chinese guys, and they put the shroud over his head, and then he gets secreted away to a Chinese prison camp.
Ready for the next season? Or was that the end?
That was supposed to be the end. They weren't supposed to come back. That was going to be the end of. They said that they weren't sure where they were going to come back, so they wanted to send Jack. And then Fox said, hey, no, let's bring 24 back another season. So at that point, they skip ahead like a whole year or 2 years or whatever, and Jack Bauer has been getting tortured for like 2 years in this Chinese prison camp. And they pull, I guess, his fiance, she has been tirelessly working. Her father's the president, and she knows they have. She's like, Jack loves me. He wouldn't just obviously he loves his daughter too. He wouldn't just disappear. So they knew that when Jack, like I said, because that was a surprise. I have to admit, and I've watched a lot of television, and a lot of times things don't surprise me. And when he jumped out, and you're like, wow, Jack actually got a happy ending. All of a sudden, the Chinese go, oh, they kidnapped him. Oh, they took him. You're like, whoa, what's happening? And you just feel so bad for him, because he's like, all the because they have kind of went over all the horrible things that have happened to Jack, and you go, oh, okay, they're gonna let him actually be happy for once. And he's like, he's talking to his fiance. Yeah, I'll be home in a little bit, and love you too. Boom. And you're like, okay, wow, he saved the day. He got the bad guy. Everything. Oh my God, he's getting kidnapped. Oh! And then
realistically though, that probably makes sense. Not every mission can succeed, can it?
Yeah, and it was the whole thing. Yeah, like I said, that was weird. So he he went, like I said, they took him to China, and they worked some kind of thing out where they brought him home. And then he had a beard, and he had to grow this beard and stuff. And you saw not to mention how many times had Jack been shot and stabbed and stuff already?
Yeah, totally.
But when there was a scene where he took I think he didn't want, his fiance, she still loved him, and she's trying to show him, hey, I've been here waiting for you, and it's been like 2 years at that point or whatever, and he had been getting tortured, and I remember he didn't want to be naked in front of her or whatever. He was being very standoffish, and he went and he was going to get a shower or something, and she came in and she saw his back, where they had just done the most demonic shit to him. He had like a trail map on his back or something. It was like the stuff. And she walked in, and she was like, oh, she saw him without his clothes on. He was like, and I thought
I'm surprised it wasn't his whole body.
Well, it was for 2 years. But I mean, they made sure to let you know that when he took his shirt off and stuff, they had done all kind of horrible torture to him. And he apologized to her for him seeing. He didn't want her to see what they had done to him all those months and everything. So I thought that was an interesting thing, because I think it was weird, because 24. I was like, it actually was good again, because I was like, they had kind of went through some middle territory, and it got good again, and then it was strange. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I remember he was getting. And she saw him without a shirt, and she was mortified. She was like, oh, and he was like, I'm sorry. and he put his shirt back on, and she was like, "No," and she like later apologized, and she was like, "I didn't mean to react like that. I'm sorry." It's like, "I'm sorry. I was horrified to see all those scars on your back from you getting tortured every day and punched, and the stuff that the Chinese tortured him and just did horrible stuff to him for like 2 years or whatever." So, and then Kim was actually like, I think she was actually working for what was that fictional agency? I think she actually had joined them. Okay, it wasn't the CIA.
I don't know.
Whatever the
yeah.
Whatever that. I think she actually was working. Like I said, his daughter was annoying, and I thought she should have when he got kidnapped, she should have got kidnapped and just mysteriously disappeared. And no one knew.
Well, she should have they should have killed her in the first season, I think.
But then she ended up, I think he was gone. He was gone for a while. She ended up having a husband and a kid or something. There was some time had passed when they brought Jack back. I don't know. I think it was more than a year. I think when they brought Jack Bauer back, when they got him free from the Chinese, he had been gone for a couple years. But she had because the final, when they did those 24 movies, you remember they did 24 movies, and by the time they did 24 movies, I knew she had a kid.
Like in real life or in the show?
In the show.
Okay.
Jack was the grandfather. But
CTU, Antonio. CTU.
His daughter, him and by when they did they did 2 24 movies. There was supposed to be a third one, but the second one was a little wonky, so they ended up not doing it. But the first 24 movie I thought was dope, but it was just 24. But it was obviously, or was it a 2-part movie? Either way, I think it was just a 2-part miniseries, the 24 saga or whatever. But I thought the first 24 movie was really good. The second one got weird. They brought in the chick from Game of Thrones to what's her, Michelle, or the woman that played Catelyn Stark was the villain.
Okay.
She was the villain.
I don't know her name.
They went over to the UK, and matter of fact, the chick Chloe or whatever that was always his tech person. That was actually, I don't think she was in the first season. They brought her in after that Nina girl or whatever, but she joined in like the second or so season. She was on for the rest of the show, and but I think her name was Chloe. She ended up her husband.
Her. I like her. Yeah, Mary Lynn Ratchka. She's in so many things. She was on Mr. Show.
I was like, I remember her from Mr. Show.
She's on Always Sunny as Gail the Snail. She's hilarious on that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you go back and watch, there's going to be some cringe moments in those other seasons of 24.
But good shit too.
Really good shit too. Like I said, like the second season, not to mention, what was the State Farm guy that was the president? Oh
my gosh.
Yeah, he's yeah, but he was the president. They let him get sick. That was.
Do you remember at the time when the show came out? Like that was kind of like, I don't know if it was like, like it was. I don't know if it was like a big deal, but it was like a deal. It was like kind of like, oh, it's cool. There's a black president on this show. Like, at least that's how I remember it at the time. I could be wrong because it was anyway.
Yeah, that was weird.
President TV show. I put in 24 president. It came up, gave me Grover Cleveland. Yeah, apparently our 24th president.
Well,
David Palmer.
Yeah, the president. But they end up, him and his brother became president.
Oh wait. Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah, Dennis. But they had after he died, because they let Jack actually failed them. That was the season finale of 24. He was shaking hands, and they had a woman, and she shook his hand, and she was infected. They had set her up. So even though Jack Bauer had stopped the nuclear bomb from going off, they infected him, and he goes, oh! And then they did. And so when season 2, they weren't sure if the show was going to come back, and then they realized, oh, you got a hit. Because apparently when they launched 24, it was only supposed to be like a season. They did not realize.
Well, because the premise kind of does, it's ridiculous, kind of like to keep doing that premise, because how much can one guy do in a day? Like,
yeah, so I've heard the producers say that they didn't, because it's episodic television and it's a whole day in 24 hours and it had never been done before. They really thought that they were just going to do like one season.
Yeah.
And it was such a huge hit. It was a huge hit. I remember it was like Ally McBeal in 24.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Fox was dominant on Monday nights.
Yeah.
Like it was like Ally McBeal in 24, and that was a wrap. I was like, that was my Monday on Fox. So I watched both because I loved Ally McBeal. And because I've talked about my love of David E. Kelly stuff. So, but yeah, they had that first season, they were like, and then it was about halfway through or so of the season, they realized Fox was like, yo, but the show was so expensive. That was another reason they was like, okay, this is experiment. Because they even said 24 is an experiment. There's nothing like this had ever been done before. They don't know. And so they don't know who the audience is for this or whatever.
And there's big action set pieces in like every episode, or like an explosion in every episode. Like they're spending money.
Matter of fact, I was still getting the TV Guide subscription like years later, 24, and they were saying Kiefer was actually, that was another. 24 was one of the highest. It cost so much to produce because it's got all the action stuff, the licensing fee because Ron Howard and what's his producing partner, Brian. So I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
They do all their movies together, but it was Ron Howard and whatever the Imagine people. They were they were involved. So paying their money, the licensing fees, they had negotiated a very high fee just to launch the show. The first rights options to the show had been so expensive, and it's like you pick up a pilot from Ron Howard, it's gonna. The licensing fee is going to be a lot more expensive than just some guy that his first show launched or whatever. So Ron Howard and what's it, Brian? I can't remember that guy.
I'm gonna look at it because it's bothering me too.
Yeah, it's bothering me. So, but those the fees for 24. That was one of the reasons why they were like, "Is 24 going to come back?" Because it's costing so much. I mean, by the season 3 and 4. Kiefer Sutherland was getting paid so much. He was getting like $300,000-$400,000 an episode. They said,
nice.
He had one of the highest. He had one of the highest fees of any action stars on television. The sitcom guys,
which is hilarious if you think about it. Like it's Kiefer Sutherland. Like it's
the show was a hit though.
No, I know, but for him to be an action star, I mean, that's hilarious.
I never saw him as an actor, but when he became Jack Bauer, he became him as Jack Bauer. But the problem is he's playing Jack Bauer on everything now. Everything I see him on now.
That's why the fugitive is kind of like, he just is, it's just a shot of him with a gun, same thing. And it's Brian Grazer, by the way.
Brian Grazer. Okay, so Brian Grazer is, so they, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer were producers on 24. And let me see. Boom. Let me see what he says. My brought up TV guy. You remember the green section in the newspaper that used to say, yeah. I'm surprised we actually still have newspapers, but I'm surprised we still have newspapers.
I know.
I'm just, I was working, I worked at MAPCO for 10 years but I noticed when I worked at Exxon, we sold a newspaper. By the time I got to MAPCO, from the start of my run at MAPCO, by the end of the 10 years, the newspaper order was so small compared to what it used to be. Except for the Sunday paper. People still would come in and want the Sunday paper. But the daily paper order, people used to really get the newspaper. Like I would be working
as a religious thing too, like every day, probably at a certain time.
You work morning shift, because I always was the night shift guy, so I would be there when the newspaper people, they'd come in and bring 30 or 40 papers, and then Sunday paper they would bring 50, 60 papers or whatever. So, but by the time MAPCO was over, it's like, so they would come and bring the newspapers at MAPCO. It was similar to that, but by the end of my 10 years there, that daily paper, they bring like 15. They just weren't selling, it was like 50, 20 papers max. I mean, and before, maybe 10 years prior, they would drop off 35, 40 papers, And so that tells you it's your cell phones. Everybody's getting, who's reading the newspaper? And I was like, it was all old folks too. You wouldn't see young people, because even if you like, oh, I need to look in the classifieds to get a job, you can do that online.
Yeah, it's totally different now.
You buy a newspaper to so I was like, why would you do that? So at that point, newspaper, like I said, that's why, and think about, and that was another thing that started happening over my 10 years. There were so many newspapers that started going out of business. There's newspaper that had been open for 100 years, and a lot of they start talking about that in The Wire. By the last season of The Wire, that was one of the problems that they were having at the Baltimore Sun. They were getting sold to another. They were going out of business. That was one of the problems. They were laying reporters off and stuff like that. So that was real, because I was like, this is very realistic, because I know that the amount of newspapers that I used to sell and how many newspapers I'm selling now. Like I said, I was at that spot for 10 years. So I'm looking at 10 years, and I can tell where I started and where I ended. And I was like, man, but that information is available for free on the cell phone.
Right.
And that's it. You want a young boy hustling if you didn't have paper. Yeah, that's a facts. That's definitely facts. And in Young Gun 2, Lou Diamond Phillips should be doing action about. He's on something. Lou Diamond Phillips is on. I know they had.
Yeah, I just saw him on. He oh my gosh.
He's on something, because
I have seen him in something recently.
Yeah, he's not sitting around praying on royalty checks to come in. He's working. He's taking.
He was jobs. Like somebody's dad on something.
Yeah. And I almost thought it was Twilight, but he wasn't in Twilight. That wasn't him, because I remember.
And I didn't see Twilight, so no, this was like a TV show.
He's been on, because what was it? Lone Star or whatever? Lone. Because that's on Netflix. Lone.
Oh my God, his list of TV is so long.
It's that show. It's the guy that Longmire or whatever. I think that's what it's called. He was on that. Longmire, I think it was called. But it was on A&E, and now it's on Netflix. Although I think it's canceled now. But they did the last 2 seasons on Netflix, because it was one of those shows where everybody was like, "Oh, it's so brilliant," but nobody's watching it. And
it happens.
I mean, that's what happened with Arrested Development.
You can't watch everything. Well, they also, just like Firefly, they moved that show around a lot too. They didn't back that show at all. I can't think of what it is I watched that he was in.
But I'm pretty sure
much stuff.
I'm pretty sure Longmire is one of them. I'm pretty sure that's. Let me make sure.
But that's definitely not what I saw him in. It may have been something old, actually. Now that I think about it, because
here it is. Longmire is but now I'm pulling it up. So because that show's kind of weird. Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips. Let me look and see what other things he's in.
What have I watched lately? What did I see? That's what it was. Psych.
Oh, is he on? He's on Prodigal Son. That's what he's on Fox. He's on Prodigal Son.
I don't watch that.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's got his gig right now.
Yeah, he's okay. So, matter of fact, I watched the first 2 episodes of Prodigal Son. Thought it was okay, but I'm like, I just don't have time to watch television anymore.
There's so much.
Like, I can watch. That's why I like the streaming and stuff. But it's just like episodic television, especially. And I get irritated. I like to let the episodes build up. I like to let them build up so I can watch multiple at once. Because like a lot of times when I'm sitting here packing, I'm like, I'll have the TV on and I'll just let it play, and I'm doing that. This just got that one episode, and I go, what happens next? I get real pissed off. I want to be able to watch it. So, yeah. Oh, Deadwood. Matter of fact, did you like the Deadwood movie? I
haven't actually.
I watched the Deadwood movie and I thought it was good, but man, I wish when they brought when they did the Deadwood movie, they had maybe done like a 2-parter or something where they I wish it had been a little
like
longer.
more of it.
Because I thought what they did was good, but it was just that one movie, and I thought they should have broke it up into 2 parts, and they could have let it breathe a little bit. That was the only thing. I was like, they got all that stuff in that one movie. I wish they had split it up and let it. But I didn't hate the movie, but yeah, the Deadwood movie was good, because that show ended so abruptly. But yeah, that's But Prodigal Son is I'm trying to remember. It's the guy that that was on Masters of Sex. Let me pull that up. Let me see. Okay, Prodigal Son.
Tom Paine.
No, let me see. Okay, I'm looking. Prodigal Son. I can't because I can never remember this guy's name, but he's in everything. He was in Michael Sheen as Martin. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so this is Prodigal Son. Yeah, Tom Paine is the son. Well, he's the son. But Michael Sheen's character, Michael Sheen had been on Masters of Sex, and he had been in those underworld movies as the vampire, as the werewolf. And so Michael Sheen's character is a psychiatrist or something. He's I think he's a psychiatrist. He's a doctor or something, and he's living a normal, he's living a normal, seemingly normal life. Surprise, he's a serial killer. And his son, who's Tom Paine's character, realizes that his father is a serial killer. He was like 8 or 9 years old, and he realizes his father was the serial, because his father had been killing people for years. It kind of, I don't know if you ever watched The Following with what's the name, Footloose, Kevin Bacon. But the Following is dope, and then like that last season or so, they lost their way, and Kevin Bacon's character went crazy, and it was like Weekend at Bernie's or whatever. He had visions of the serial killer dude in his head. The serial killer had died, and then he lived on in his memory. Like it was Dexter. He was talking to the serial killer guy. It was like they bonded. He was like, it's the thing where the villain, it's like Hannibal or whatever, where the villain is like, you and me are so alike, we would be brothers. And it's like that kind of, it's like we're the opposite ends of the coin or whatever. He's convincing you that we're just we're the same. Oh, Art T. Bear, how are you, Art? Hello. All right.
Hello, Art.
Great Art T. Bear. Yeah. And but it's The Following got weird because, like I said, the serial killer guy and Kevin Bacon's character start going, you need me, you're just like me, whatever, and all this. It got, and I've noticed all these shows where they have one good guy and one bad guy, they all end up like this. They was like, or sometimes the two start off as friends. It's like the ending of what was it? The Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis, where he's
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, where he breaks down classic comic book tropes. And
I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Sometimes he was like, you know how you can tell when the hero and the villain, or who the villain is, because he says sometimes they're friends, and it seemed like as Kevin Bacon's character, he would have to go, oh, where are your, and he realized the serial killer dude that's why they call it The Following. He had a cult. He had developed an apprentice underneath him, and these were the most organized, weird serial killers.
Sounds a little far-fetched.
Yeah, it was the whole thing got weird. But then when they finally get the serial killer character out of jail, a lot of the luster is off of the show, because at that point The Following has gotten him out of jail. So all the cool shit that was happening to to Kevin Bacon's character, it's not happening on the same, because
like the premise of the show is over, basically.
Yeah, so they get it in, so okay, he catches him, and then matter of fact, I remember in the later seasons, the serial killer dude, he's like, they had squirreled him off, and they had started this compound of followers, the network from around the country. They were living there, and then he was just trying to be. It looked like he was changing, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna be a bad guy anymore." And then, so that's why he had to die, because they had to bring in someone else for the whole thing. Got weird. It
sounds kind of bad. Sounds like a hat or something.
But that's how Prodigal Son is. Michael Sheen's character, he's a serial killer, and his 8-year-old son discovers, oh my God, my father's a serial killer.
What's the point, though? You say Prodigal Son, does he follow in his father's footsteps, or does he go against his father?
Get to that. Okay, so Lou Diamond Phillips shows up at the house. There had been some killings or whatever. They had been trying. Obviously, there's a serial killer. They're trying to catch the serial killer, right?
Does he play a cop?
Yes,
that's like one of his go-to roles these days.
He's a cop. He shows up at the house, and Michael Sheen's character is like, he's there, which that was weird. He's a cop, and he shows up at this guy's house by on his own instead of with a partner, because they set it up where Michael Sheen can kill Lou Diamond Phillips' character, and continue being a serial killer and get away with it, right? The Tom Payne character, like I said, he's like 8 or whatever. He's a kid. He realized, he warns the cop. He lets Lou Diamond Phillips know, hey, my father's gonna kill you. He was getting ready. Matter of fact, he was getting ready to poison him or do whatever to kill him, and he saved his life. So even though he saved him, and then so they're able to arrest Michael Sheen's character, they capture him alive, and now he's been in jail.
Wait. Let me guess. The son becomes a cop.
He becomes a profiler.
Okay, but he's catching criminals.
He's obsessed with serial killers. He's a specialist, and because of his father, he is specifically obsessed with serial killers.
How many serial killers actually exist?
Yeah, it's such a rare, most people just kill. You know what I'm saying? Most murderers serial killers have their own thing, because that's
there's like something going on.
It's like, okay, you're used to this guy is just a random murder. Boom. This guy is specifically, like Ted Bundy or whatever. These guys, they have it's like what Dexter was talking about. He has a cycle. It's like, oh, okay. Or when, like, I told you my favorite of the alpha serial killers on Dexter was the Trinity killer. So when Trinity, like every 90 days, he had to kill someone. So like it was based on the lunar moon or whatever the hell, based on the thing happened with the moon or whatever. So he would, he would go to he was very careful. He would go to another town, and he set it up in another way where he could get away with it. He was very methodical. He was, and Dexter actually was envious. He was like, this guy has it all. He has a loving family. He has a normal home life. And then he can go off and still be a serial killer. So he has a perfect life. And then, so he was like, he could have killed him. He had a chance to kill Trinity. And then he goes, no.
I can't believe you're talking about Dexter again.
We were talking about Prodigal Sons as the serial killer thing, but that's the thing. So he starts going.
Torturing me.
He starts going, instead of killing him, and he could have killed him. They went out to the woods together. And he was going to kill him. And he goes, I need to learn from him. There's something that he has figured out. He's been able to successfully do this for over 20 something years or 25 years and not get caught and still be able to have a normal family life, because he had met his family, and it's like, oh, his family was normal and they don't know he's a serial killer and everything's perfect. He's like, so instead of killing him, well, I'll kill him later. I need to learn his secret. I need to learn so that was Dexter decided to study him.
Mm-hmm.
Was a critical mistake because Trinity figured out, he tried to kill him and he got away.
Yeah, Dexter sucks.
Yeah, and he was like, he was like, oh God, the whole thing got really weird. And so then once Trinity realizes that he was actually being hunted, he started investigating Dexter. Because
But what
Dexter
about Prodigal Son?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was like,
only because I don't want to talk about Dexter again.
The whole
I
thing
am
was
done with
because
Dexter.
of the whole thing about the cycle and the whole deal with the serial.
But so the kid gets older and he becomes a
he becomes
police enforcement or
And I don't even think he was working for the FBI. He was some kind of they had some kind of thing where he had like carte blanche. He was like an independent profiler with
what? Like an independent contractor profiler?
He had some kind of he worked with like the FBI. It's like he was so he was a what they call it, eccentric, where they were like, he's brilliant, but he was so smart about catching these serial killers that they kind of just when they use him as a consultant, they just let him do what he wants. He was like, okay,
yeah, but they don't want to deal with they don't want HR to have to deal with this. Or whatever.
Like, hey, let him do what he wants. Because he did some crazy, like the episodes of Prodigal Son I watched, he did crazy stuff that anybody else, they would have got fired. But like, I remember there was a bomb and it blew up and ended up, but he chopped the guy's hand off to save his life. Like he was chained to something. The serial killer had chained him to the bomb, and then they weren't able to free. He was like,
okay. He had to do it Saw style, huh?
Yeah, he ended up cutting the guy's hand off. And the guy was like, he cut my hand off. And he was like, yeah, but you would have died if I hadn't done it. So he did save the guy's life, and now he's done that. The whole thing was weird, but his you don't know what happened to his father, and then this apparently a serial killer that had very similar patterns. It's kind of, what was that Red Dragon with Hannibal, with Andy Hopkins. There was the serial killer was writing to Hannibal Lecter secretly and putting like ads in the classified section, and they were speaking in code. And Hannibal Lecter knew about the guy or whatever, and then the profiler guy comes and talks to Hannibal and try. It was like now bring it back to Dexter. That's funny. But the profiler guy, he's talking to Hannibal, and and obviously they catch the serial killer. But it's okay. I have no idea why you're
this
saying
again,
this.
huh?
Yeah, I just like, dude, why are you guys bringing this bullshit here? Because I'm just
this is the JillStream.
Yeah, these are guys that, like I said,
don't have anything to do with this.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not even on Doug's show or anything. So I'm like, why are you guys doing this? So I'm like, let me just.
He must have just blasted you on Twitter or something, or
I don't know. There's probably all kind of bullshit drama or whatever going on right now. And, I guess I will answer for that when the time is. Like, I have no idea what this bullshit is about. So, but yeah, you guys that don't come here. Yeah, I was just okay because I was like, I'm like, why are you guys? I was like, Doug, we weren't even talking about Doug, and then shit just showed up. So I'm like, okay, but yeah, Will Graham, that's the Red Dragon character and all that. So, but it's you find out in Prodigal Son that the dude's father, because like I said, the serial, he's starting to notice. He's like, I think this guy is copying my father. Fan. But they did the same thing on The Following. That's what was weird. It was like he had copycats.
Were they on at the? How long ago was The Following? Were they on at this? Well, Prodigal Son's on right now, so I guess they're not on at the same time. Right now.
The Following's been off the air for what, 3 or 4 years?
For a while.
Now? Yeah, but yeah, it went. I mean, it went off the air like at least 3 or 4 years ago. I think came on 2016 or 2015, something like that. But yeah, serial killer was seeming to reenact the profiler guy's father. So he hadn't spoken to his father in years. His father would, although I think the daughter somehow kept a relationship with him, because he had 2 kids, and then
Let me guess, she's a serial killer.
She was different,
Oh.
but see, that's the thing. Following started off good. It got towards the end, it was terrible. Those last 2 seasons were awful. I was like I said, when the dude escaped prison and he had the little cult going, and the whole thing was weird. But it was, yes, it definitely was about murder. But that's the thing, he had a following. But
so you're saying the last season or 2 that it kind of went away from that aspect,
especially like when he got out. And then they wanted to, Either way, it's talking about the following is almost like remembering my uncle touched me when I was a little boy or something.
Oh, good Lord. You're not really selling the show for me
right now. But the first season or 2, I think the first 2 seasons I thought were really good. And then he got really strange as the character.
So that's another one for one and done season shows. I don't think of some more.
Second season was strong. Yeah. The Deuce is awesome. I agree.
What's The Deuce?
It's done by David Simon of The Wire, and
what platforms it on, or was it already on?
It's set in 1970s New York, and it basically shows. I know. Well, the one girl, Maggie Gyllenhaal, she's a prostitute, and she becomes a porn movie actress and producer. And so, it's interesting.
It's 70s stuff. Gotcha.
It's really interesting.
Cool.
It was. It wasn't. I don't know, but like I said, the following wasn't very good. But Prodigal Son, he had to go talk to his father after 15 years or whatever of being locked up. And so Michael Sheen's a brilliant actor. And so he goes to see, and like I said, so you're gonna get, and you're gonna get they always get British guys to play Americans and all this kind of stuff. So because I think the Thomas Paine guy is British too, or Australian or something.
I think you're right.
But Michael Sheen is definitely British. And but he has to go, come talk to me, son. I'll help you catch this guy. And so that's the premise of this. So all of a sudden he's been avoiding his father for
now I get it. Prodigal Son.
So it ended up, it just didn't well, maybe I actually loved Alphas. Alphas was a great show.
Don't think I checked that out.
Yeah, it was sci-fi. I did watch it. Let me see. It did get too far, but the best part of Bacon had a heart. Yeah, he had a heart condition.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was like, oh, he got so stressed out.
Oh no, he got away.
Yeah, it was that kind of. And then they're like, he wasn't, so he was supposed to be on like desk duty or whatever. No, I'm the only one that can catch him. You don't understand. It's that kind of thing.
Is the following really as good as you say? Because you're starting to make it sound really cheesy, or all these things are making it sound like, I don't know.
Season. Oh my God, it's incredible. The way it's shot, it's got this it's like real dark. Whoever filmed it, the director of photography, the look of it, it was just, I mean.
What channel was it on? What?
It was on
Fox. Okay.
And I'm telling you, it was brilliant. And then, like I said, and then going into second season, I thought it was still good. And then after that, I was like,
is it streaming on anything? I wonder.
It probably is.
Probably. Anyway.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the dude that played Bodie ended up on the following. He was on the following. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah, the dude that played Bodie was on the following. So
Wire Wednesdays, everyone. Wire Wednesdays.
Yeah, I think the 100 is the best TV show on the air.
I've never seen it, but I think I
Well,
know
we had
my
Isaiah
mom likes
Washington
that
on
show.
that. What was it, last week? The week before, or whatever. When Isaiah Washington was on, I didn't ask him about the 100 though, but because he was just there to talk about his Fox Nation show.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed
You
our
don't want to
conversation.
like fanboy out too much. Like you want to stick to the agenda. Like stick to the
really
program.
wanted to ask him more about Grey's Anatomy, but I've seen some other interviews that he's done about Grey's Anatomy, and it seemed like that probably wasn't the best because what happened to him, because we did talk about it, because there were people that were lying on him and trying to say he was this or that or whatever, and trying to, because that's one of the things I told him. I said, man, you were the poster boy for cancel culture. They were not only did he lose, they were trying to make it where he could never work again. They were trying to make sure Isaiah Washington never was able to work again. That was the whole thing. So it was
I was thinking about this last night because I was watching, I don't recommend it, but I was watching A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the forum with Zero Mostel, because I really like Zero Mostel. And he had a pretty famous speech at the McCarthy hearings. He was like blacklisted during that time, even like before they started the blacklists, because he was very outspoken and lefty back in the 50s and 60s. And he's anyway, it was just interesting. Look it up, Zero Mostel. But they canceled people back then, for all sorts of reasons too.
Yeah, so like I said,
it has been going on a long time. Things go in waves, and it stops, it comes back again. It stops, it comes back again, and social media, man. It's
there you go. Like I said, I saw Prodigal Son. It does seem interesting.
Worth checking out.
No?
Worth checking out. Like, should I check it out?
Yeah, I think you would like, but I don't. Like I said, I don't know how. Yeah, I would definitely.
Taste. We have.
It's only in its infancy. It's in the first season, but like I said, I don't know if they're going to be able to break, because I don't know when they would have had to start shooting a couple months ago in order to be able to come back this in the fall. So a lot of the shows, I
can be okay with watching like one season and
yeah. So
kind of.
it definitely got picked up. It was a hit. So they were like, yeah. So yeah, Michael Sheen. Like I said, I loved him in Masters of Sex. I thought he was great in that. So that was him and Libby Kaufman or whatever her name is. But either way, oh man, Jill, this is brilliant. All right, so
battery time.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to end it. Always leave them wanting more. And but do you have anything you would like to say to all your adoring fans before we leave here?
No,
today?
Thanks everyone for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, it was a fun chat. I enjoyed it.
Fans, some new fans. I'm not sure, but hey, man, we enjoy the conversation. I enjoy your conversation.
Yes, and
I guess we'll be back for Wire Wednesday. If not sooner, I'm not sure.
So it looks like our times are 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 5 my time and 3 your time. So 6. So on Wednesday,
we're all over the place.
Yeah, Wednesday. So I'm just trying because before we would just start streaming and people
we were
hopefully
totally random.
So so now it looks like Wire Wednesday is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then me and Jill will be on episode 3 of The Wire. Then we'll come back most likely Friday and do the actual JillStream podcast.
Which is always just super random, whatever we want to talk about.
Like I said, we start one place. Hell, we would talk about everything.
It'll probably always come back to Dexter, though, in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Well, we talk about serial killers. We're going to end up on Dexter somehow. But,
it'll happen.
As always, catch me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, right here on YouTube, all at a Card Press. Cardpress.com takes you to Brand Way of the Gun. Please check it out. We are over $28,000. Thank you, guys. And, of course, Amazon, Teespring, get those horrible merchandising shirts that Kanan drew all those designs and everything, and wear your brand merch. And, again, thank you, guys. Thanks for the super chats. You were very generous, and y'all vote.